in the user management, the administrator of the club or the sideline account can register new users and manage the access of all users connected to the account. You can have 3 types of users. It's the coaches and trainers, athletes or players, and then family members if you have that kind of account. Remember to have your account selected up here. For all of these 3 sections, for the different types of users, you have the same functionality. You have some filtering options here. You can write here in the name field. You can also filter by emails and phone numbers and so on. You can also click on the group link here to filter if you only want to see one group at a time, for example. You have buttons here on the right side to register new users of that type that you have selected, or click connect if you want to connect to an existing user who, let's say a player already had an XPS account with a national team or something like that. So we'll show that a little bit later. Let's take a look at the table itself. I would say one notable column here is role. So this is where you can see the roles that you've selected for each user, and you can change it right here. You can also see what groups they are in. And you can click here to sort. You can click on the columns header to sort by the contents. When you're changing roles, if you look a little bit more to the right in the table and scroll a little bit more to the right, you can actually see what kind of access the users have and what access the roles are giving them. Notice that when I'm changing the role to no access here, you can see how this access disappeared that the player role was giving them. You can right click in this table, and then you have different kind of functions here. One nice thing is that, let's say we want to change the roles for all of these players. Now you can just multi-select. You can use the keyboard shortcut Shift, Control, and Command, Control A, for example, to select, but you can also just drag. So now I selected all of these. They all have no access. I right click in the blue area, change role, and change it to the player role. In the same way, you could right click and remove all of these from a group or add them all to a group. Also, send login information is important here, because sometimes you create a team and you don't send out login information right away. You want to put in the schedule first or something like that. So then you can always come back here, select the team, click in the table and do Control or Command A to select them all, right click and send login information. If a player quits the team, you don't want them to have access to their account, you could click on Deactivate here, and that will gray them out. It will give you the license back so you can use it with somebody else, but you still have access to the player regarding statistics and so on. But the player cannot access anything. You can do the same for coaches, except for coaches you can just disconnect completely even. And yeah, that's pretty much it for the table. Let's create some new users. So we click here. Let's first create a coach. We click on Register Coach. We'll just start with creating a single user, and then we can put the name in here. Let's just do this here. Now, as you see, when I input the email, it suggests the login name is the email, but you can change that as you want. It will also suggest a password, but you can change that yourself. And also, when you send out the login information, there will be a link for the users to pick their own password. Click Next. Now, if you're doing this for the first time and you only have one team in the account and so on, sometimes you can skip this window or it won't even be shown. But right away, when you have more than one team, you need to select what team do you want the coach or the user to, and what kind of a role, access role, you want them to have. If you're missing a team, you can click New Team right here, the settings for it. But this is what you would regularly do here up in Teams section, right? But right now, this is a shortcut. So now you have Demo 2 here, and you can click Create User. So it's super easy to create users. Once you create them, you get the option of sending them the login information. This is a standard template, but it contains the necessary links for downloading, getting started, and so on. You can change this template by clicking Edit Template here. Just make sure that you don't change these fields here, which will be auto-filled in with the relevant content. And then when you send it, you can either just copy the text and paste it into your webmail, or you can click Send Message, send it from your own personal email account. That only works if you're using Apple Mail or a standard email program on your Windows PC, like Outlook or something like that. But you can also just send it from Sideline Sports. Only thing is, if you send it from Sideline Sports, be sure to notify the users who are getting these emails, because it might go to spam. You can also decide to just skip sending it for now and do it later. That's how you register a single user. It's the same for athletes. You just have to make sure to be in the athlete section when you do that. Now let's click register athletes and create multiple users at the same time. It's the same thing. You have to select the team, you have to select the role. Then you're in this window, and here you could click on add row a few times and start writing things in here. But a much easier way is that, and the reason for this window really, is that chances are you already have this information in a spreadsheet. And the only thing XPS needs is the name and email really. The name can be in 2 columns or 1. I'll start out by having it in 2 columns here, so we're just copying this here. Notice I'm skipping the header here, I don't need it. You don't need to put in username and password, but if you want to create your own passwords and so on, you can add these columns as well. So I'm copying this, going back to XPS. Now I click this button right here, paste cells. I might have to line up what column was first name, last name. In this case, it just mapped it out correctly right away. So I press OK, and that's it. Then I'm ready to click create users. But this was a good reminder here. Passwords need to have at least 8 characters. So that's right. So they need to be 8 characters and contain at least 1 number. Now, if this happens, because it will check on the email, and if it finds that there is another user that has the same email, you might get this question, and sure, we're just going to extend that. And this might be that there is some user that already was registered in XPS. And then you also get this window to invite that user into the account. So now I'm clicking invite here. This user will have to log in though to accept this invitation. Remember that. You have to ask them to do that. Yeah, let's do this here. Well, you would here typically just click send emails and send it from Sideline Sports. Now, since we're sending to many users here, you don't have the copy text function, but you can do preview, and then you can see the actual emails for each and every one and do copy text from there if you wanted to. But I'm just going to send this from Sideline Sports here. For the one that we invited, you will see that it's green here and you're still waiting for the reply. So this means this user, you have to ask them to log into their XPS account and accept your invitation. Let's do this one more time. Just register athlete, create multiple users. I just want to show you that again, this is the only thing you need really, name and email. The email can be a bogus email. It doesn't have to be anything real. So if you don't have an email for a user, you can still create them like this. Just write any email. Again, I'm pressing paste cells here after copying this. So now I have to select name here, email, boom. And now since we didn't have username and password, it's going to auto-generate that. Now you might want to change that though for these bogus emails, because then you will just have to get them this username and password. You can just tell them to download the app, provide them with this information to get in.